I'm concerned that the attention on Iraq will distract us from what we're doing with respect to al-Qaeda. I don't know all of the particulars today of how we distribute our resources around the world. These are details that are classified. They're handled by very well understood processes. But it's been my experience from commanding in combat that I would like every bit of intelligence I could get, and we used a lot going after only that small part of Europe which we were attacking in 1999 inside Yugoslavia and in Kosovo. So I think as a minimum that when one opens up another campaign, there is a diversion of effort. The question is whether the diversion of effort is productive or counterproductive. There are forces operating in both directions at this point. You can make the argument, as General Shalikashvili did, that you want to cut off all sources of supply. Problem with that argument is that Iran really has had closer linkages with the terrorists in the past, and still does apparently today, than Iraq does. So that leads you to then ask, well, what will be the impact on Iran? And that's uncertain. But it does, if you could take these weapons out quickly, then it would cut off that potential source of supply. On the other hand, by lumping the two together, al-Qaeda and Saddam Hussein, it's also possible that we will have incentivized Saddam Hussein now as a last-ditch defense to do what he wouldn't have done before, which is go find me the nearest members of al-Qaeda, here, take this sack and do something with it. So it's not clear which way this cuts right now. But at some point, we are going to have to deal with Saddam Hussein. We are going to have to work against the weapons of mass destruction, not only there, but also in the case of Iran. And whether this is the right way, the right time to do it, depends in large measure on how we proceed. And this is why I underscore again and again the importance of diplomacy first and going through the United Nations, because I think that gives us our best way of reaching out to achieve this objective with minimum adverse impact on the struggle against al-Qaeda. The longer we can reasonably keep the focus on al-Qaeda, the better that war is going to go, in my view.
And if you took out Saddam Hussein and the Ba'ath Party, the secularist party, don't the Sunnis and the Shiite Muslims make up a majority of the population in Iraq? And wouldn't that give Iran a strong hand there, and we ultimately end up creating a Muslim state even under democratic institutions?
Are you asking?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I think that there's a substantial risk in the aftermath of the operation that we could end up with a problem which is more intractable than we have today. One thing we're pretty clear on is that Saddam has a very effective police state apparatus. He doesn't allow challenges to his authority inside that state. When we go in there with a transitional government and a military occupation of some indefinite duration, it's also very likely that if there is an effective al-Qaeda left, and there certainly will be an effective organization of extremists, they will pour into that country because they must compete for the Iraqi people. The Wahhabis with the Sunnis, the Shias from Iran working with the Shia population. So it's not beyond consideration that we would have a radicalized state even under a U.S. occupation in the aftermath.
General Hugh Shelton told me about a week ago in his great North Carolina accent, which I understand, that if Saddam Hussein were removed and the Ba'ath Party ousted, that the Kurds, the Shiites, and the Sunnis would go at each other like banshee chickens. General Hoare